Welcome back to another edition of the Platoon Baseball Podcast. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, JP, Jesse Paul, and Cheddar, Reed Hansen. What's up, boys?
What's up, guys?
Reed, how are
Doing
you?
good. Doing good.
Yeah. You got any Twins free agency updates for us?
Yeah, we just
Uh,
got one. They signed a
when
catcher. Re-signed, I should say.
Who is
cool.
it? Break the news for the people.
Uh,
This is
Victor
breaking,
Victor
folks.
Caratini agrees to 2-year
Oh
contract.
boy,
19 minutes ago.
Oh,
Big
switch hitting
Twins
move by the
catcher.
are
Twins.
Twins are going all in this year. You can tell. Josh Bell and Victor Caratini, they're all in.
They love the switch hitters this offseason. That's what they're looking for.
Apparently, I
They
don't
should
know.
have they should have kept super utility man Willie Castro if that was the case.
Yeah, that's not an
Cool.
extension. Obviously, that was a free agent signing. But
Yep.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, hey, just wanted to start off by thanking Nick Allen for his time on the podcast last go around. We had a great time with him, and I think it turned out pretty well. I know I had a blast. A blast. I'm sure you guys did as well.
yeah. Hopefully, we can do that more often with him or other MLB. Uh, Not only players but people involved in MLB.
Yeah, and even if it's people around college, I'd be down to do high school play. Like just people in baseball is what I'm really looking for, or I think would be best. So don't
Yeah.
want to just we don't want it doesn't always have to be someone who's actually playing the game at the highest level. Just baseball in general. So Jesse, do you want to get into the new Instagram? Maybe tell people where to follow us at.
Yeah, new Instagram, Platoon Baseball Podcast. We have our Twitter still, Platoon Baseball Podcast. We've been posting a ton on Twitter and we're working on Instagram now, so give us a follow.
And then besides that, I think we're gonna get straight into a little game Jesse has put together for us. What
Yeah,
is this game called, Jess?
we got a new segment on the show called Over or Under. I will list a stat and then 5 players, and I'll have you guys tell me if that player is over or under that stat. And a little caveat to the game, I'm not going to tell you if you're right after each player because I don't want you guys knowing, oh, there's been, this many overs in a row, it's got to be under.
Right, right, right.
Gamesmanship aside, I'm not letting you guys know who's winning yet.
And are Reed and I both taking a guess, or do you
Yeah,
have multiple
both
games where you
both
want
of
us
you
to?
give me a guess on each one.
Okay.
So our over under today is a batting average of 290.
Okay.
The first
His career.
player career batting average, it's a retired player.
Gotcha.
The first player we have on the docket is Albert Pujols. And let's have Chris go first, and then Reed will give second, and then we'll flip flop.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna go over.
Okay, Burrito.
I'm also going over.
All right, I just got to record your response, and since I'm not telling you right away. Number 2, Rito's gonna go first. Alex Rodriguez.
I'm gonna go over again.
Can't do my boy A-Rod with an under here. I'm going over too.
Okay. All right, you guys both said over for the first two. All right, next up, number 3, we have Ken Griffey Jr. Chris first.
I'm gonna go under.
Okay.
I hate I hate doing the same thing, so I'm gonna go over again.
All right, Reed's over. He's got 3 overs.
We're gonna
Something's
mix
not
it up
added
here.
up here.
We're gonna
Not
mix it
no
up.
disrespect to Griffey. I know I just said I couldn't do my boy A-Rod like that, but I just think Griffey played a little some years where he wasn't Griffey, and I think A-Rod had a little more of his prime in him than
Sure. Yeah, that's the
Griffey.
tricky part about this one is there could be some seasons that really drag the average
Yeah.
down.
So I'm gonna go under, but no disrespect. No disrespect.
Okay, next one, Rito's first. Craig Biggio.
I feel like Chris talks about this guy's stat lines all the time.
If he gets this wrong, he'll never hear the end of it.
I'm
But is
going
Craig
over.
Biggio over under 290?
I'm gonna go
I'm
under.
going over.
Oh, he went first with the under.
No, he
Rito?
Rito said over, right?
Oh, did you say
Yeah, I
over?
said over.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry. I was like, you're jumping in front of him, but okay. So we got Reed over and Chris under on that one.
Yep.
Next one, we have Gary Sheffield.
Back to me, right?
Yeah.
Under.
I'm also going under on this one.
Okay. And I also do have the averages, so I'll let you know exactly what I was.
Yep.
They were obviously all pretty close
Very
because
Right.
close. Yep.
obviously.
Yeah.
So we'll start it off with Albert Pujols, a 296 average, both over, both nailed it.
Let's go, Rito. Hell yeah.
Both got one on the board. Alex Rodriguez, both said over, 295, over.
Bunch of ball knowers.
Both 2-0. Ken Griffey
Here we go.
Jr., 284,
Ooh.
under. Chris got it right. Rito missed out. Craig Biggio, Reed said over, Chris said under, and Chris knows his guy,
Let's
281.
go.
So Chris has four. Rito's only got two, so he automatically wins.
Can I go 5 for 5 though on the first one?
Gary Sheffield, over under 290, 292.
Wow.
Chris gets it
Ooh.
wrong. Reed gets it right. So a 4-3 game. Nice game,
Close. It was
fellas.
close.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that segment more often. That's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. It'll be fun with different stat lines too.
Yeah, we'll mix it up and we can do current players as well. But all right.
Awesome.
I like it.
Congrats to
Nice
Chris.
battle, Rito. You don't you don't know Biz like
Hard
I know
fought.
Biz though.
Hard fought.
Biggio. The next one, I obviously I'm doing Twins player for Rito.
Oh
So
yeah.
Yeah, have to.
Gonna
all
have
right.
to.
I just know it's a Danny Valencia stat already.
All right.
You know
Next
you know
up.
I got my boy Danny Valencia in there. Don't worry about it.
Next up, we're gonna do MLB's hottest news. Welcome to the hot corner, where I will be going over news and we'll just talk about it like we normally do. Um, we haven't done this for a while, so I have a ton of things here. I'll just say a few, and then I'll give you time to talk about the ones that are big. So the first one, kind of out of nowhere, Munetaka Murakami signs with the White Sox, 2 years, $34 million.
Yeah, I think what happened there, Jess, was, the stats and numbers against certain mile per hour pitching came out, I want to say later last year, maybe as free agency opened. And it was strange because going into free agency, a lot of guys thought he was going to be more around the 180 million, maybe 5 or 6 year deal. So to see him sign that kind of deal with the team that he did, super interesting. Definitely his market fell off somewhere along the line. I believe it's crazy that it happened the way it did with really no communication of it till the very end. But here we are. Maybe it is a good fit for him to get into the league, have some at bats, and then after those 2 years are up, he can maybe solidify himself for a longer term, higher annual value, and you know, one of those bigger contracts we expected him to get, anyways.
Yeah, I think that was well said. It was the biggest surprise was that he signed with the White Sox. You assumed a contender's trying to add a impact bat, but it was more of a White Sox making a move to potentially bring some power and life to the lineup and hopefully build something going forward. It'll be interesting to see if he resigns there for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a great move for the White Sox personally. Like at this point, why not try it? I mean, it's not like the White Sox are playing for anything at this point in time. Uh, they're in the midst of a rebuild. I just think it's a good move for them, and it could be a great move, and he could, get this White Sox lineup back to what it was back in 2020. So
All right. Next one. Wilson Contreras traded to the Red Sox. Hunter Dobbins is the main piece going the other way, along with two more pitchers. Any comments on that one?
I like it for the Red Sox because they kind of missed out on a couple other, like whether they have him playing first base or catching or whatever. I mean, I think it's another high power bat that they can throw in there for some of those pieces that they may have missed out in other areas, like Schwarber and what am I thinking? Pete Alonso and whatnot.
And I mean, just the loss of Bregman too, his bat in the
That
lineup.
too. Yeah. I mean, they needed another bat, so I mean that kind of helps out. And they didn't really have to give up too much, but we'll see what Dobbins does down the road. So I like it
Have
for him right now, anyways.
have they come out and said what the main role of that Wilson Contreras is going to have with the Red Sox?
I haven't
I
seen anything. I'm not
I
Yeah,
sure.
haven't
I don't
either.
know.
You got to think with Tristan Casas coming back, being healthy, that he'd be the everyday first baseman, and maybe Contreras can DH and split time at catcher and first
Mhm.
when Tristan needs a day off. But yeah, I haven't heard anything either, so it'll be interesting to see how they use him in the lineup or day to day.
Yeah, I'm seeing primarily a first baseman, and he's also going to be the cleanup hitter.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even catch for the Cardinals at all last year, so I feel like he might be kind of going along the route of like weaning out of the
Yeah,
catching on defense and stuff because he is kind of
he's
getting
got
a
to be.
little older and it's a little
Yeah.
easier to transfer over to first base at that time. But I mean, I guess we'll just kind of have to see.
Yeah, and I mean, not they can throw one of the first basemen they have at DH, so it's probably not as big of a deal as maybe
No.
you'd think it was when you see the trade take place.
Yeah. All right, and then these are a few I just want to mention. Jeff McNeil to the Athletics from the Mets. Rob Refsnyder. He's a pinch hitter who smashes lefties. He's going to sign with the Mariners for 1 year. And then this one we could talk about. Ryan O'Hearn signs with the Pirates for 2 years, 29 mil. Not a name that was talked about a ton, but
Yeah, I mean, good for the Pirates. Go out and get a guy that can. He's not a superstar by any means, but he's admirable and puts together good at bats at the plate. Something Pirates fans can get excited about, a guy to go watch. So I like that they went out there and got somebody. That fan base deals with a lot of crap, and I'm just glad there's somebody out there that they can actually go attain, and he can be a part of the lineup.
I mean, he was a pretty big name around the trade deadline too, and he did end up getting shipped to the Padres, which didn't turn out to be much, but still, I mean, was an all-star last year. I mean, he had a really good season. So, I mean, if the Pirates really do want to try to get some offense to help out Paul Skeens over there, who got just about zero run support on his starts, I mean, it's a good start, anyways, to get somebody in like that who just came off one of his best seasons in his career. So, I think it's a pretty good move.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's a good start. I don't think I don't know how many wins it adds to their total. Maybe one or two, three or four. I don't know. It's not very
According
high.
according to
So
Baseball Reference, 2.4.
yeah, so I don't think it's really gonna have an impact on Paul Skeens as much as we'd like it to. But like you said, if it's the first step in the right direction, here it is.
yeah. Just another one I want to mention. Pete Fairbanks signs with the Marlins, 1 year, $13 million deal. And then here's one I want to talk about. The largest guarantee in franchise history for the Athletics. Tyler Soderstrom signed 86 million.
Yeah, what it's a good extension. I think they are kind of taking that approach that you saw the Braves do with the Acuñas and Ozzie Albies of the world is lock them up young and lock them up cheap. I mean, Tyler Soderstrom has potential to be a great MLB hitter, and the fact that they were able to lock him up to this deal this early on in his career, it's a great move for the Athletics, and it's really not a bad move for Tyler either, as he has to get to that 6 years of service time anyways before he gets to that contract. So it gives him a chance to get paid in the meantime as well.
Another name that I would like to throw into that ring of signed early for cheap is Will Smith for the Dodgers, who he signed a 10-year, $140 million contract. And that, like, I was going off the news that happened the other day. We were kind of looking into things like that. And I saw that and I was just like, wait, what? Because that, like, if you think of Will Smith, he is like probably a top three catcher in baseball. Not even probably, he is. And you get him for 14 million a year on that roster is just unbelievable. Like that, I feel like that one kind of flies under the radar of early for cheap and just kind of another guy where who knows, maybe that kind of falls in with Soderstrom here too, kind of signs something like that, and then it turns in and does something crazy, and you look back and you're like, how did they get him for that type of a thing?
Yeah, for sure. I think he gets paid what 1 million a year and the rest is deferred. Just that's how the Dodgers do it, right?
Uh, Not quite, but pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
that's a good
wanted to
point,
check.
Rito. I like that.
Yeah, it
That
is.
thought.
It's one you forget about too. I mean, I haven't
Mhm.
thought about that in a long time. So
I I literally saw it again yesterday, I think, and I was just kind of like, how in the world did that happen? But hey, I mean, kudos to the Dodgers. They know what they're doing apparently.
I mean, yeah, look at you can say the same thing about Ronald Acuna. Didn't he sign $100 million deal? I mean, he's a top five player in all of baseball when healthy. Like,
Yeah.
good on the Braves, I guess, but damn, it's crazy to me that they are actually able to do these kind of things.
Speaking of the deferred money, I did just pull up Will Smith's contract. He's currently getting 13 million a year for the he got it last year and then this upcoming season and then the season after, and then it drops to 9.5 million a year for the rest of his contract. And then he gets 5 mil a year for 10 years following. So yes, they put 50 million of that 140 into deferred money.
Call it the Dodger special.
Mhm.
All right. Next, Tatsuya Imai signs with the Houston Astros.
No notes here.
Congrats, Chris.
No, just
Yeah.
kidding. Super excited. He's already embraced the city of Houston. He was at a Texans game, threw up the H with his agent and Jim Crane, the Astros owner, and then the following night he was at a Rockets game. So he's just trying to do it all in Houston, and he just seems genuinely excited to be here, which is awesome. So it's another guy on the staff and a guy with plenty of potential. I mean, look at his numbers in the KBO. He killed it. So really looking forward to watching him pitch.
It is fun seeing guys like that come over from those leagues and then they immediately just kind of immerse themselves into the city and what all is going on out there. And I do think he'll fit in well with the Astros because they do need some more pitching to kind of help out with that staff. But I mean, I think he'll kind of slide right in and be a pretty valuable piece for him moving forward here.
Yeah, the Astros came out and said that they've added some more scouting in that region of the world, and that we should expect to see the Astros be players and more uh, of those guys over there. As you know, most of the time it's a lot of the West Coast teams, maybe a couple of the East Coast, but now even seeing teams like the White Sox go get Murakami, the Astros get Imai, it's opening up out there for other teams to have a shot at these guys. So it's cool to see.
All right, we'll
Yeah, and I
stay on
mean,
that.
there's a lot of talent coming out of there, as you can see within the last few years. Not, I mean, Shohei Ohtani is an outlier in that category, but still with all the other guys like Sasaki and Yamamoto and even Jung-Hoo Lee in for the Giants. I mean, there's
Kodai
guys.
Senga,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean they come out everywhere. So I mean, there's a lot of talent there that's ready to be brought over play in the MLB. So I think it's a good move by the Astros.
Yeah, we'll stick with that theme. Kazuma Akamoto signs with the Blue Jays on a 4-year deal, $60 million. Sounds like he'll primarily be a third baseman, but their goal is for him to be a utility guy.
What are your thoughts, Jess? I mean, as a Blue Jays fan, what are you excited? Anything you're concerned about?
Yeah,
What do you
absolutely
think?
excited. He brings a little bit more expected power to the lineup. In a year where the Blue Jays hit extremely above average, but we're probably around league average for power, if I had to guess, without looking at the numbers. Obviously, they have, Vlad and Santander and Barger. They have a few bats, but it's not consistently there. And actually, last year there were players that you wouldn't expect bring power, such as Varsho. Um, but yeah, it'll be good to have that consistent power bat there, with solid defense in the field too at third.
I think it's a good move, especially now with the Bichette news that just came out. Just adding another guy into that infield that's got a bunch of guys that seem like they can play just about anywhere. So I mean, you can kind of plug and play whoever you want, whenever you want, depending on matchups or day of the week and who needs a break or who doesn't. And I mean, it's just another guy that you can just kind of throw in to that lineup, and I think he'll probably fit in pretty well around those other guys.
All right, moving on. Edward Cabrera gets traded to the Cubs for Owen Cassie and two more hitting prospects.
Yeah, I was surprised to see Owen Cassie be a part of that deal, but either way, I think it's a great deal for both teams. Marlins get some, prospect in the a great prospect in the outfield, and Cubs get another guy for their staff that, you look at their squad last year, that's kind of what they were missing was another guy in the rotation. So I think it's a great move for both teams, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the move there by the Cubs was pretty good. They were able to keep Imanaga and reload in some other places too with some other signings. So they're obviously going all in. They think that they can make a good run like they had this year, and I'm excited to see where it can go.
Yeah, Cubs are a scary team. I have a lot of confidence in them and what they can do going forward after some of the moves they've made the last couple weeks.
Yeah. And then one I'll mention before some big news. Michael Lorenzen signs a 1-year contract, $8 million dollars with the Rockies. And then some big news that I wanted to talk about. Skubal files for $32 million dollars in salary in arbitration, and the Tigers counter at 19 million, 13 million being the largest gap ever in an arbitration case. What do we think is going to happen here?
I think arbitration is hilarious to me. You have these great players that find themselves in these situations, and the team goes into these meetings is like, actually, you're a piece of shit. You're not good. Like this, you're actually not good at this, this, and this, and that's why the where the difference is. It's very strange for, team player relationship, the stories you hear. So to have this big of a gap is probably not a good sign for Scooble sticking around in Detroit, if you ask me.
I want to know whose bright idea it was in Detroit to walk in there and be like, "Hey, two-time Cy Young winner Tarik Skubal, here's $19 million compared to the 32 that he wants because he is quite literally the best pitcher in the American League." And it's pretty much between him and Skeens for who's the best pitcher in MLB. And you want to give him, I think I saw the number. It was like the 40th best contract or somewhere in that range for pitchers in baseball. But he's been the best pitcher in the American League for back-to-back seasons. Like it just makes no sense to me, which I get it's going to be the highest arbitration contract probably ever because usually they're not good that early. But still, I mean, like if you even have any want to keep him longer than his arbitration time runs out, you've got to go in there with a better offer than that. I mean, you're just pretty much just walking in and slapping him across the face and then just turning around and walking out.
Yeah, I'm curious how negotiations went before this. Like, would they go into the room and were they further apart than this? Like, what did they plan on having happen? Like, obviously they got nowhere in discussions, which is why we're here and why we're still at a $13 million gap. But yeah, Rita, like you said, he's worth every bit of 32 mil, if not more. I know other teams would probably sign him for more than that. So for this to be this big of a gap is pretty outrageous in my opinion. And I think the owners are gonna have to buck up, and they are probably gonna end up having to pay the 32 million. So
Look here, this is a players podcast. The owners need to open up the checkbooks, pay the guys. Every single owner needs to understand that they need to put a winning team on the field, and to do that, you got to throw a little cash. This is one of those cases where the Tigers are going to end up losing a big guy, one of the best pitchers that we've seen in a while, because they won't give him what he's worth.
yeah, great point.
I I wait for when Paul Skeens is in this area because he's got the same level of not like he has the one Cy Young, but he's been the best pitcher in baseball for 2 years in a row, and he's even younger and at an earlier point in his contract than what Scubal's at. And he has 3 whole years of arbitration. So who knows what that's going to look like when that comes up for him? If the Pirates even go through that, or if that's when they, because you see all these things about potential trading him away. Like, is that when they trade him away so they don't even have to worry about getting to that point and paying that money? So this, I feel like this will have a big implication on what the Pirates end up doing with Skeens later on, how this arbitration hearing comes out.
Yeah. I mean, let's be real, Rito. They're both gone. They're not re-signing with these teams. They can't afford them. And the owner, not, I shouldn't even say they can't
They
afford them. We
can.
know the owners aren't going to open up the checkbook. So if
Yeah.
I'm the Tigers or the Pirates, get everything you can while you can, in my eyes.
Yeah, I disagree with saying they can't afford him. They
I,
certainly can. They
that's
just are
why I
not
went
willing
back and
to.
said,
Yeah,
yeah, that they haven't opened their checkbooks in the past. I shouldn't have
correct.
said they can't afford
Yeah.
them.
Yeah, there was like an MLB revenue versus payroll chart that came out. The Pirates are bottom four in the league in percentage of their revenue that goes towards their payroll. So an extra, whatever it ends up being, assuming it's like 50 million or lower, that won't even put them at 50%. So they could certainly do that, but obviously it's going to be a tall ask for that owner group. And then the Tigers actually are 12th highest in the MLB. They're already at 50%. So that Skubal deal becomes a little bit harder for the Tigers. But I do think Pittsburgh has a better chance of re-signing Skeens than the Tigers do re-signing Skubal. And then next, let's get into owners paying a player $175 million for 5 years for Alex Bregman to the Cubs.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how the Red Sox like let this happen. I don't. You trade Devers, as I think they should have. Devers needed to go. There was obviously a disconnect between him and the GM, but you lose out on Devers. You bring Bregman in. Sorry. You bring Bregman in with the ch hope of keeping those two guys together. It doesn't work out. Devers gets shipped away. Bregman's your guy now. He's going to play third. He's going to be there. You're going to sign him to a long-term deal after he has a great season. And then you have this, we get to January and he's still not signed. And then he's on the Cubs. He signs a 5-year, $175 million deal. And the Red Sox don't have either of the two star players they had before this and are left in a weakened spot. So I don't know what the Red Sox were doing, but great move for the Cubs as they lose Kyle Tucker. I think he's a great leader. He's a great guy to have around the locker room. He's obviously great at third base, can hit above league average. I think I'm a huge Alex Bregman guy, obviously, as he was an Astro, and I think he's just going to add another piece to that Cubs lineup to get him over that edge.
Yeah, I think it's a really good move for the Cubs anyways. Like I'll try to keep it on the Cubs end. I could get into the Red Sox stuff, but that's just a big poo-poo on them pretty much. Um, but I mean, kind of like how we said earlier, like the Cubs are they're in, like they want to win. And in news we'll talk about later, like they ended up losing out on the Kyle Tucker stuff, but like they have guys coming up, they've made trades, they've made the signings, like they are in a very I want to say winnable division. Like they can go out and take that division and get in the playoffs, and who knows what can happen when you're in the playoffs. Like anybody can get hot at any point, and you're getting guys who have been there, like Alex Bregman, who has won a World Series, like he's been in the playoffs a lot. And that's just another veteran guy to come in and kind of help those young guys figure it out and kind of lead that team forward.
Yeah, that's a great point. I do think the Red Sox are still obviously shopping the third base position now after losing two guys in the last year. Um, Eugenio
I have a point
Suarez
on that a
being
little
the
later
name
on.
that
If
I think they go for. But yeah, go ahead, Chris.
no, I was just gonna say I have a point on the Red Sox and third base with something that occurred today that I'm sure we'll get to in a few minutes.
Okay. All right. Next up, Nolan Arenado to the Diamondbacks, and he waived a no trade clause to go there. So Nolan Arenado agreeing to that trade.
Jesse, you got any thoughts on that one? I mean, for me, he's not someone I like to talk about after he declined to trade to the Astros, so I'll send it to your way.
Yeah, he's obviously one of the best defenders in the last decade in the MLB. He's got 10 gold gloves, 8 all-stars, 6 platinum gloves, 5 silver sluggers. Like obviously a very decorated player just in the back end of his career. I think it's a great move for the Diamondbacks to try to push him closer to being able to make playoff runs. With some of those younger guys coming up in like Corbin Carroll and stuff. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Cattell now after adding another bat. I don't think it changes too much. Obviously, playing different positions, but yeah, I think the Diamondbacks just got better after this trade.
I would agree. I mean, I like it on their end. They're another team that, they think about it, they were in the World Series just a few years ago. Like they were there and then they kind of took a few steps back and they're obviously trying to get back to that point. And what my mind immediately went to was their infield and how good that infield is starting to look because you already have Corbin Carroll in the outfield who pretty much covers the entire outfield by himself. Then that infield is just looking even better and better now. I mean, they've got Ketel Marte, they've got Perdomo, who had his best season in his career, and now you throw Arenado over at third base. I mean, they're suited up to have another good year going forward. So I like the move.
All great points.
All right. Next one. Red Sox signed Ranger Suarez, 5 years, $130 million.
Just to go back a little bit, did any of us get Bregman correct?
No,
Did any of us get Ranger Suarez correct?
no.
Hmm. Apparently, we're not too great at predicting free agency landings,
Apparently not.
but that's okay.
I can
I
double
think
check that, but I'm fairly certain.
I think it's a good move for the Red Sox. That rotation is scary. I mean, you want to talk about depth in a rotation. Look at that rotation. I mean, it's arguably the best one in the MLB outside of the Dodgers. Maybe even competes with the Dodgers.
I think the Blue Jays is up there as well, but
No bias though.
no bias. No. I
Yeah.
mean, you can't tell me that this rotation is that much better if not the same as Kevin Gausman, Shane Bieber, Trey Savage, Dylan Cease. I think they're comparable at the minimum.
Uh, I think the fact that you lead it off with Garrett Crochet, it takes it to
Yeah,
another
the
level.
high end talent certainly helps, but we don't
Yeah.
know what we're going to get out of Trey Savage. He was
Yeah.
phenomenal in the
Yeah.
playoffs. It'll be interesting to see him be like an every 5 6 day guy. Um, but the depth of the Blue Jays bullpen I think is better, but they are missing that top end. I agree. And not to even mention like they brought Cody Ponce over as well, who may be a sixth starter for the Blue Jays, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, but to get back to the Ranger Suarez deal, yeah, I think it's a great move for the Red Sox. You know, they lost out on Bregman. You know, where can we maybe add a piece that can set us up somewhere else? It's in the rotation. It's another guy you can throw out there and expect to get a win, stay under a 3.5 ERA, and you got to be happy as a Red Sox fan, even though you lost out on a guy like Bregman.
I think it was a good pivot. I mean, I don't know what happened between them and Bregman, but whatever did happen, they obviously moved on from it fairly quickly because it happened pretty soon after the Bregman news dropped. And kind of like you were saying, like it makes that starting rotation just that much better. But I do think their offense is going to need to step up somehow. They're going to have some young guys perform, which I know they do have the guys in AAA and AA and whatnot coming up. But when they come up, they're going to look at them and look at for them to start performing well when they get there, which can always be tough on guys. So I'm interested to see what the offense looks like and what they are able to put out this year. But I mean, the rotation is there. They're going to be pretty solid. So I feel like they have the ability to do it, but you're just going to have to wait and see, really.
Yeah, I still think they're going to add that impact bat, whether that's Eugenio Suarez or Marcelo Mayer or someone to play third base and add a little bit of defense. So
They've been in the mix. I mean, their name's been included in the Ketel Marte sweepstakes too, so they may
okay,
go take a stab at something like that as well.
yeah. Nico Horner Also,
That too.
rumored to be getting traded if a team agrees.
Or even Matt Shaw, now that Bregman's in
Yeah, potentially that'd be
Chicago. I
interesting.
mean, why not?
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Don't have to talk about this one too much, but fan favorite Willie Castro to the Rockies on a 2-year deal.
Hall of
I
Famer.
uh,
My guy.
I just went to three Rockies games this past summer, and I will say he will probably be a fan favorite because they don't. They have some guys that were actually that I was very surprised with. They played very well when I was there, and for somehow they actually went 3-0 in the games that I went to, which I was at three of their 43 wins, which is pretty shocking. Um, but yeah, I mean that it'll be good for him. I think. I don't know. We'll see.
I think that Willie Castro purple jersey is going to go hard. In
I
fact, I
agree.
think now that you're the certified Rockies guy on the pod read, you
Hmm.
might have to cop it.
Might have to look into that. We'll see. I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah. All right. Let's get it over with. Dodgers win Kyle Tucker sweepstakes. Price tag comes in at 240 million for a 4-year deal. And then some details of the contract include an opt-out after year 2 and 3, a $64 million signing bonus, $30 million deferred, and after all of that, it comes down to a $57.1 million AAV deal.
I think I sent the text earlier that I'm just going to leave it with is I hope Kyle Tucker steps on Legos every day for the rest of his life. That's where I'm at with this. It feels like I know he wasn't an Astro last year, but it kind of feels like a little trader move. You might call me a hater. You might tell me I'm being a baby. That's how I feel. But in the reality of things, the Dodgers are stacked. What a great lineup. The fact that they have the ability to go out and get all these guys, not only the ability, but they actually go out and do it. I mean, I don't think I've seen as good a baseball team ever assembled. You look back at some
No,
of those old Yankee teams, and, at that time, those were the greatest teams assembled. This team is going to be talked about in that same conversation somewhere down the road. I think the Dodgers are going to win 100. They could break the wins record with a team like this.
You add a
yeah,
guy like Kyle Tucker who is he's a year-to-year MVP candidate, and you throw him on a team that now makes him probably the fourth best player, fifth best player on that team.
yeah. I
I
mean,
mean,
if we're counting pitchers as well, I don't hate it.
yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like he doesn't have to be the guy. Like he can go in there and bat in the five hole and hit 285 and have 30 home runs and they're going to be at 110 wins. Like he doesn't need to go out and put up MVP numbers and he's getting paid that much money to do it. So like if you kind of take a step back and get into his shoes, you have a team that is back-to-back World Series champions. They're looking like they're that have a very high chance of doing it again and they're offering you the most money. I mean, like what other things do you need your way? Like other than maybe you want a little bit long term or a little bit more of a long term deal, but like he has the opt outs if he wants to go somewhere else afterwards or the ability to even re-sign with them later. Like who knows? I mean, it's just like it just keeps going back to like how do the Dodgers just keep doing it and doing it and doing it every single year? It's just unreal.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna sign another big contract after this too, which is I'm assuming
Mhm.
why he does the 4-year deal. He'll be 30 years old by the end of it if there's no opt-out. You expect him to perform in these 4 years with the Dodgers. It's hard not to in that lineup. The RBI chances are going to be there. Like you said, he's going to be swinging free,
Mhm.
and he's going to sign another massive contract after this. So I don't blame him at all for signing this one.
Yeah, I hope every time he eats popcorn, he has a kernel that gets stuck in his back tooth that he has to pick at for a day. Just minor inconveniences along the way in his
Nothing
life.
too bad because
Nothing too
obviously
bad because
we're
I,
a
I like
players
watching him play.
podcast, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I want Kyle Tucker on the pod, and I want to see him like digging for that kernel. So,
yeah,
but yeah, great move for the Dodgers. Great move for Kyle Tucker. They're gonna win the World Series. We probably should just end the pod. We don't have anything to discuss.
And crazier things happen.
yeah.
True, true.
All right. Three-team trade, Josh Lowe to the Angels, Gavin Lux and Chris Clark to the Rays, and Brock Burke to the Reds. Any comment on that one?
Good timing. Got a lot of views because of when it went down.
Right after the Tucker deal. The Tucker deal got swept under the rug after this massive three-team deal.
Absolutely, yeah. Great timing. No big notes from me here. I mean, I think it's just one of those moves that put some guys in some spots where the the teams who acquired them feel like they needed to add some depth or some everyday guys, and they've made it work.
All right. And then moving on to the last big deal. Bichette signs with the Mets. 3 years, $126 million. Contract includes opt-out after year one and two. None of the money is deferred. And then I also wanted to mention before we started talking that it is reported that the Phillies offered him 7 years, 200 million.
Yeah, this is Beaumet Bichette. I I kind
Bobish
of
Met.
yeah, there you go. I like that one. I honestly kind of feel for Blue Jays fans because at this point in time, or yesterday, there was a chance they were getting Tucker, and then, well, they're gonna just always fall back on Bichette if that doesn't work. And now they're both gone, and not that I think the Jays necessarily needed to get them, but they would have been nice additions to the team. So it's just crazy how quickly things can change, and this is where we're at. But I think you mentioned earlier, Jess, that Bo Bichette's going to be playing third
Yep.
for the Mets.
Yep.
So that leaves Brett Beatty in a weird spot where he could potentially DH, but I've heard some calls have been made about Brett Beatty.
Yeah,
You want to
it's
take a stab at those two teams who've called about him?
to play third base.
Hmm.
Well, you'd have to think the Red Sox are interested.
They're one of them. There's one other one. We talked about him earlier too. Not about third base, but we did mention them earlier. It's the Tigers.
Okay.
A controlled, a lot of potential third baseman, and they have other pieces in their system that could go a long ways. Who's on the other end of that Tigers deal? Are the Mets up to something? Are they
I
gonna
don't
go get Skubal?
I don't think they're up to something, to be honest.
I do. That's my hot take of the episode. I think they're trying to find a path to Tarik Skubal.
You see the smoke?
I, if Stevie says there's smoke, there's smoke. So he he was not wrong. He was just early.
Okay.
So
We
that's
just
my
assumed he was talking about Kyle Tucker.
I got it.
yeah.
Yeah. But really, it
But
was a bigger name.
yeah, right.
Exactly.
But no, it's an interesting move. Like you and I discussed earlier, it truly for the bat. I mean, it's not like they had a dream of plugging Bo Bichette at third base. That should be nobody's dream, if you ask me. But I think he has. If you look at his numbers since he came into the league, he's a hitting machine, man. You're lucky to have him in that lineup. Whoever would have got him. So great
Yeah.
move, great pickup for the Mets.
Yeah, he has improved his defense over the last few seasons, so I'll give him credit for that. But he also got moved to second base in the playoffs for a reason. The range has improved, but the arm is the arm. That's kind of why he was put at second base. But yeah, third base would be interesting. We've never really seen him do it. But yeah, he's there because he's a potential career 300 average player, which is pretty nuts to say. But at this rate, it's very possible that that's what his career ends up looking like if he keeps it going.
I do think part of the reason why he was moved to second base was also because he was dealing with that knee injury,
Yeah, for sure.
which obviously affects his mobility. I mean, you could see it in the games he played. He could barely run. So I think that had a big role in it too, but also the fact that Jimenez was a much more sound defender just played another role. And I
For
do
sure.
think moving him out of short, whether it is to second or third, will help. But like you were saying, it could. I mean, he's not known for his glove; he's known for his bat. So we'll see if it'll improve or not, or even what his injury looks like moving forward too. I mean, if that's going to affect him at all next year or what. But I think the Mets got a really good bat to go along with their lineup that just didn't really perform well last year. And so they're kind of looking to turn things around and add some new pieces and maybe get back to a playoff hunt and World Series hunt and kind of see what happens moving forward.
Take two Bagel Bo taking his talents to New York.
Yes. Okay, that's all I got for the hot corner.
A lot of stuff has happened since we last discussed it.
Yeah, just two interviews in the last 2 weeks, so we haven't gone over the news, but we'll stay on top of it from this point out. So, all right, I want to do another segment after talking about the news. The MLB stock market. Are you buying, selling, or holding these storylines? So the first take I have is after bolstering their starting rotation with Ranger Suarez and Sonny Gray, the Red Sox will make the playoffs even if they don't sign an impact bat before the start of the season. Are you buying that, selling that, or holding that?
Love to hear what you have to say, Rito.
I think I'm gonna sell.
Mm,
I uh I just think there's too much in the AL. I think you got to be able to have guys that can hit. Like you can have good pitching all you want, but you got to have the run support behind them. Because I mean, if you have pitchers that they give up 2 runs a game, but you only put up one, like you got to be able to kind of support them a little bit there. Because then once that starting rotation comes out, what does the bullpen look like? Are they performing well? Are they not performing well? I think that plays a big role. So I don't know. I think they just and it could come back too to their young guys performing well, and if they give them that run support or not, they definitely could prove me wrong. But at this point, I just don't. I don't know.
I'm going to buy. I think we saw their young guys come up and get some at bats last year. They know what it's like in the big league now. I think they're going to perform to their potential, and we're going to see a Red Sox team that makes the playoffs. Maybe not win the division, but sneak in as maybe a wild card. I could see it again as three teams out of the AL East. But I'm buying.
yeah, if I had to say I would be selling, I think it'll be close, but that AL East is just too good. You kind of can pencil in the Yankees and the Blue Jays to make the playoffs. And I do think they will add an impact bat, which will make it interesting. But I will say without that bat at third base, you assume that's where they add it. I don't think they make the playoffs as is. All right, my next one. After the major signings, including Bregman and Cabrera, the Cubs have the best chance of beating the Dodgers in the NL.
Hold. I think we saw an unusual year from the Braves last year. I think most of that Phillies roster is still intact. I think those teams are kind of closer than you together. I mean, obviously the Dodgers are where the Dodgers are, but those teams that kind of group together there. And now you even add the Mets to that mix too with some of the additions they've got as well. I don't think the Cubs are necessarily the only team that can go out there and or shouldn't say that. I don't think the Cubs are the best option to compete with the Dodgers.
I think I'm with you there. I think I would hold on this. They added a bat and an arm and kept some other guys that were there that performed well. And I mean, they have the chance. They played fairly well against the Brewers, but you saw how that went once they went up against the Dodgers. I mean, you can't take that into say that the Cubs would have done the same thing, but kind of like Chris was saying, I think there are other teams that just have a little bit more talent around them, kind of like the Phillies or say the Braves with some of those guys, or even looking kind of down at the Padres or something like that. Like there's other teams that I'm not going to say have a better or worse chance, but I think they're all kind of right there in the same area. So it's kind of hard to tell before the season who's going to be the best out of those teams to have the chance against them.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I'd probably sell. I I think the ads are huge and they will definitely be competing and they could certainly make a playoff run. But like you guys said, I think the Phillies would like to perform better in the playoffs, and I think the Braves are gonna have a bounce back year, like you mentioned, Chris. And then my final play on the stock market today. The Blue Jays will make it back to the World Series in 2026.
So
I'm gonna, yeah, I'm selling.
Wow. What is the reasoning here?
it's so hard to get back to that spot. I mean, baseball is I know it's not the most physical sport. Obviously, you have football and hockey for that, but the grind of a 162 game season and to perform at that same level to get you there, it took a lot for them to get to that spot. I I just don't see it. Um, I hope they do. They're such a fun team to watch, but there's just
Mhm.
so many other teams that I think kind of fall into that same conversation we just had where they're all on paper right next to each other in that talent range. And I just don't think that the Blue Jays will do it again.
It's kind of what I was thinking as well. I mean, you've lost a couple pieces too, and to ask those guys to do exactly what they did, or even better, again coming around. Like the one guy that I would lean on to do that would be Vlad. But then other than that, I mean, I don't know if you're going to get another Trey Savage like breakout moment where he just absolutely shoves every time he's on the mound, or somebody like Ernie Clement to come out and get you 31 hits in a playoff run. Like I just don't know if that's sustainable or repeatable, which it's kind of almost, I don't want to say like lightning in a bottle, but kind of along those lines where like everything just kind of came together at the right time and the right moment for them to even get to that point. So, I mean, I'm not saying they can't do it again, but I'm just saying it's probably not as likely.
All right, I'm buying, especially if the stock is cheap, which it sounds like it is. I just think you have a team culture now that's been developed where the guys are having fun coming to the ballpark, and I know some players are leaving and joining, but looking at this rotation, like we talked about earlier, you just have a 5 or 6 man rotation that you assume is going to pitch like they did last year. Godsman's been one of the most consistent starters over the last 5 years. You Savage, who knows how he's going to perform, but the potential is massive. Shane Bieber was great. And now adding Dylan Cease, you assume he's going to be your one or two, so that's going to be crazy to see how they end up working the rotation in the playoffs. But I assume they win the division, which gives them a good chance of winning the first round at least. So, um, and I think yes, losing Bo hurts, but keep in mind he was injured for a large part of the playoffs. And then you also have players that you assume take a step in the right direction again, such as Santander. People kind of forget that he's even on the Blue Jays. He was a 40 home run guy 2 seasons ago, so you hope he can bring some of that power back. The Akamoto signing, and then the Cody Ponce and Cease signing. So I think they have actually added more than they've subtracted. So, all right, that's all I got for the my MLB stock market segment.
I like the conversation there. That was good stuff.
All right, Chris, I'll hand it over to you. I believe you're going to judge the next segment.
Yeah, so this is another new segment we're gonna try out here today. It is called Fair or Foul. Basically, the guys are gonna take a stance on something, and what did we decide, Jess, on time frame for this? You guys get about 2 minutes?
Yeah, whatever works.
2 to 3 minutes on to state their case, why they believe it, and why I should believe it. And they're kind of going head to head here. Doesn't have to be that I agree with their argument the most, but if they can put together a well-rounded argument, even over on something that is totally crazy, it's all subjective. So I'll let you know at the very end who I think won this little challenge we're gonna have, and who wants to start us off here, boys?
Yeah, I can start us off, but I also want to do a little cross-examination. I think that'd be fun to be able to ask Rito some questions and provide
Yeah,
counterpoints as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I love it.
All right. So my take, the next MLB competitive bargaining agreement or CBA will not include salary cap or any restrictions on deferred money. As a result, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets, the Phillies, and now the Blue Jays will continue to dominate spending and player acquisition. And it's not on the owners, it's the players' fault. My argument is that the players value maximizing earnings over league parity. We saw this with the Kyle Tucker signing. If the Dodgers are willing to pay you the most amount of money, the player is going to sign with the team that's willing to pay the most amount of money. And he's looking to win. Why would you go to a bad team to increase league parity? They're all looking out for their own interest, like they should. And the MLB PA will vote against salary cap once again. They voted against salary cap regulations in 94-95 season and the 21-22 season. And there's no reason that the MLB PA will not be looking out for the players and will want to maximize their earnings. Deferred money only affects the top echelon of MLB players and is not a serious issue. Deferred money benefits the team and the player by reducing luxury tax and increasing the player's overall earnings over X amount of years. And with all that being said, there is a chance that a salary floor is implemented to increase league parity like the fans want, and it'll leave player earnings how they should be for those top players and will actually increase player earnings for some of those other players. So I was looking at this MLB revenue versus payroll chart. Two-thirds of MLB teams spend at least 50% of their 2024 revenue on their 2025 payroll and luxury tax. Meanwhile, the Mets are spending 90% of their revenue on payroll and luxury tax, and the Dodgers and Blue Jays are spending over 70% of their revenue on payroll and luxury tax. There are teams that use significantly less than 50% of their revenue on their payroll, such as the Miami Marlins at 27%, the White Sox at 31%, and a whole list of other teams that are below 50%. Only one-third of teams are above 50%. This shows unwillingness for even the less wealthy owners to spend on their payroll despite their revenue generation from previous seasons. That is my argument.
It was a great argument. Reed, do you have any cross-examination questions for Jesse?
No, not really. Those were all the same points that I was kind of thinking of when he had first thought of the argument anyway. So I think that was pretty well stated.
Yeah, I think the
Um,
hottest take here, I mean, there's a very good chance there's no salary cap or restrictions on deferred money, but the hottest
yeah.
take is that it is the players' fault. I know all the fans hate the owners for not spending more money, and they hate the Dodgers for being able to spend that much money. But it's the players that are unwilling to change. So,
Which is kind of hard to like quantify or like come up with that. But I think there are a lot of people that don't realize that the bargaining agreement goes between the owners and the players association. So like both of them have to come to an agreement, which is obviously tough to do because they're both on two very opposite ends of the spectrum in the things that they're talking about. So,
yeah.
alrighty, I guess that brings to my argument, and that is that Aroldis Chapman is sitting 33 saves away from 400 in his career. And I think he is going to be the last 400 save closer that we see. And I say that with the next closest current closer with the most amount of saves is Edwin Diaz, who is sitting at 31 years old, and he has 253. And Aroldis Chapman has 367. There are two current guys who are sitting above Chapman. One of them potentially reaching 500 saves, which was originally going to be my argument, but he would be one of three pitchers all time. So I feel like that's not really that hot of a take. And that is Kenley Jansen sitting at 476. So he is only 24 away from 500. And he's only three away from passing Lee Smith of being third all time just in general. But kind of along those lines, the Aroldis Chapman, he has averaged well over 30 saves a year in every year that he's played full seasons, with only one time being under that because I think he was injured part of the year in 2022 with the Yankees, where he only had 9 saves. And then the following year, he had 6. But then he obviously made his resurgence last year with the Red Sox getting 32. And he's had 10 different seasons, having 30 plus, kind of in that higher end of the 30s, along with Kenley Jansen, who has also been in that high 30s, low 40s range 7 times as well in his career. Whereas Edwin Diaz, he had one season with 57, and other than that, his highest was 34, and he's been averaging mostly in the 20s. And then you kind of look at other guys who may be a little younger, Mason Miller, who we kind of think of as that top dog right now, who's kind of in that younger age. He is currently 26, but he's only sitting at 50 saves, and he's averaging kind of around that 28 to 30 range. And so that's kind of where I'm thinking is that I do believe that Chapman gets there, whether it be this year where he gets another 33, whereas last year he had 37, or if he plays another season and he hits that 400 mark, I believe he will be the last guy to get to 400 saves. And he would be one of 9 people then with 400 saves in the MLB history.
I love it. That's a great argument.
Yeah, that is a spicy take. I'm curious if you'd make that take if Emmanuel Clase was still pitching on a regular basis.
Um, it would be interesting to say the least. He's definitely another guy that's up there. Uh, he definitely was on a higher pace, but obviously we can't really
Yeah, I don't
keep
think he'll
him
be
in
ever
on
pitch
that.
in the
But
MLB again. So,
yeah, I would agree. He's kind of a he would definitely be the guy that I think would be the next closest because he is sitting at 182 and he had 3 straight seasons of leading the league in saves. And that would be a guy who I think would definitely have a possibility of doing that. Like he would have a high chance. But obviously with what happened with him is kind of tarnishing that, which kind of stinks for the game of baseball. But
I hate to throw this in there. I'm gonna be a homer here. We're kind of forgetting about Josh Hader a little bit.
I just looked at him up. He's sitting at
I have his as well.
227 and he's 31 years old.
Hmm.
I would argue that he's not on pace to hit 400.
He is right behind
Eh, right behind
Edwin
Edwin.
Diaz. Yeah.
Just wanted some love for the Haterade.
That's why I went more with Edwin Diaz because he is sitting at 253 and Hader sitting at 227, and they are currently the same age.
So I don't think Edwin Diaz is going to get that many saves with the Dodgers. I think that, they can rotate whoever they want in that position.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a really interesting take. I personally would assume that we get another one at some point, just based on, you know, trends, but
Hmm.
and just probability of how the amount of closers. But with the role changing and how hard these guys throw, I mean, you could see less games being played. So I don't hate the take, but certainly a hot one.
I think that's a good point too with the role is that you kind of have a lot of guys in the bullpen now that all throw 100 plus. Whereas you kind of look at this list of guys who are sitting in that 400 plus. It's Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman, Lee Smith, Kenley Jansen, Craig Kimbrell, Francisco Rodriguez, John Franco, Billy Wagner. And then you have Dennis Eckersley, who was 10 away. Like those are all guys who were like the top of their game for 15 plus years. And then now you look at guys with Chapman, who he's up there, but like after that, you don't really see the longevity anymore with guys coming into that role. Whereas like you have teams where you have a guy for 6 years or better who's that top dog. Then you get another young guy who comes in where say that guy maybe gets injured or he has kind of a down year. This other guy comes into that role and kind of takes over. So they kind of start splitting that time in that role, and that kind of might hurt on the amount of opportunities you even have, let alone the number of actual saves you get.
And then my final counter argument is Raisel Iglesias is potentially on pace for this as well. He has a career 253 saves through 11 seasons, which is 28 saves per 162 games. So that would only, if he's playing, healthy, that would only take him 6 years to hit. But obviously, that's a huge question mark.
The other thing with that is he's sitting at the exact same number as Edwin Diaz, but he's 4 years older.
Right. But just
So he would
another,
be he would be 41 doing that same save count, which I don't know if that's really sustainable for a guy like that.
yeah, I 100% agree. But yeah, if
I
he
would
if he
say
had
I would say the closest guy would be Edwin Diaz, which
Yeah.
kind of to your point, you don't know how many opportunities he's going to get with the Dodgers. I do think he probably will get a lot. He'll probably become the closest, but we'll just have to see what they end up doing with that role. So,
Yeah, that's a great take. I love it. Certainly spicy.
Yeah. So I guess it all falls back on me to pick my winner here. I just I know based off the numbers you just presented, Rito, that it doesn't look like we have anybody at this moment in time, but it's hard for me to believe we won't have anyone ever again. I think I'm gonna have to go with Jesse here. I think it was a well-rounded argument, and I like the take, and I like the confidence you spoke with it, man.
Yeah, I will give Rito credit. His take is certainly spicier than mine. Um,
Yeah,
I, to say that someone's never going to reach a milestone again is certainly a stance. And you did have the stats to back it up as
yeah,
far as current
100%.
players. You just have to think that some phenom is going to come into the league at some point and tear it up. But
Yeah.
like you said, it's just the longevity of these guys. But yeah,
Yeah,
you
both were tremendous arguments. I thought you both had great points and numbers and discussion to back it up. So I think this is a great start for fair or foul, to be honest.
yeah, I love
Maybe
it.
we need to keep a tally on fair or foul winners.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, Reed, you know that Rivera saves record will probably be on the list of sports records to never be touched. So
Is
yeah,
there a base? Go ahead, Rita.
I don't think that's even remotely close to being touched by anybody ever. Because it was Trevor Hoffman was in second, but he was still 50 saves behind him,
yeah, 51
which
behind
they're
is
the
just
only two
insane.
to have 600 saves.
And no
And
one
I
else
mean,
has 500.
just with the way that the trends go is like it's. I mean, yeah, there's even less guys when you talk about 500. There's
No
what did I
one,
say, four?
no one in 500 from what I see.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Kenley Jansen is closest. He's 26,
He's at
24,
476, so
26
he'll get
away.
there. But
Yeah, so he'll be one of three guys with 500 plus. Like that, that's another just unbelievable stat from Mariano Rivera is just how good he was and how long he was able to do it and just how dominant he was at the that aspect of baseball.
Is there a record, a baseball record out there that you think is even farther out there that will never be touched than this saves record?
no,
I think I have one.
let's hear it.
Um, yeah, one, maybe two. Rito, let's hear what you think. Be
You say
interested to
you're
see if we
first.
agree. My just off the top of my head is the Ricky Henderson stolen bases. I don't think anybody's gonna touch that, nor is anyone even close. So I think that one's always gonna be there. And then I'm interested to hear what your second potential second one could be.
My other one was the Ted Williams 400 batting average. I at today's day and age with the one with the way the game is played now with guys where average really isn't looked at as highly as it used to be, and two with just the amount of stuff that they see from pitchers, I think it's just I think he's gonna be the last guy to even come close to 400.
All
I
right,
think that's it.
I've got a few for you as well. Um, Joe DiMaggio 56 game hit streak.
Yep.
That's a long one.
Cy Young
Long one.
511 career wins.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many from back in the day like that that are just not even going to come close to just with the way that it used to be played to the way it is now.
I
Yeah.
mean, hell, if Paul Skeens could get some damn run support, maybe.
No kidding.
Nolan Ryan 5,714 strikeouts and seven no hitters.
Yeah, we're gonna need a guy to pitch for 27 years if we're gonna get close to that one again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cal Ripken Jr.'s 2,632 consecutive games played. Never.
Never.
And then, like you guys said, Ricky Henderson, Pete Rose, 4,256 career hits.
I think baseball must have the most amount of untouchable records
I
at
was
this
gonna
rate.
say
I mean,
after looking at this, I mean it's got to just because of the game's history and how much it's changed
mhm.
throughout the years. the technology, the player performance, the pitching, everything's just changed so much.
Yeah,
I
you
agree.
mentioned Nolan Ryan's seven no hitters. There's a fun stat that I like out there. Nolan Ryan has seven no hitters and no Cy Youngs. Roger Clemens has seven Cy Youngs and no hitters.
So no hitters do not get you Cy Youngs, it turns
They do
out.
not.
Nope.
And then I have a couple more. Barry Bonds, 232 walks in a single season. What do we get? Highest gets like to 90, 100-ish range this nowadays.
I think the crazier part was how many times of those were intentional.
You'd have to think more than like 2/3 of those are intentional.
And how many times were the bases loaded? There's got to be a number out there, and that will never be touched either.
No.
I
And
mean, we
then
could spend an entire
Yeah.
episode of this just talking about ridiculous Barry Bonds stats.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
then
looked it up that
I'm
year of his walks, sorry, was intentionally walked 120 times.
yeah, so like pretty much
It's
half of them.
crazy. So I
And
was
then
looking here for Judgy, how many times he got walked. I don't know why he's the first guy I thought of, but he walked 124 times this year
yeah.
or this last season. So
So Judge walked as many times as Barry Bonds was intentionally walked.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's nuts. And then final record that will probably never be broken. Ichiro Suzuki, 262 hits in a single season.
Freaking love
That's a
Ichiro, man.
freak. He's a freak.
He's sick. He's sick.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Let's see. I'm gonna pull this up quick because now it's bothering me. But I want to see who had them. You got to think Judge had the most
I think Soto walked the most,
walks.
but I could be wrong.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah,
Soto,
you're
I would
right.
say
Soto
Soto's the closest, but it's not
Soto
even
had
remotely
three
close.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm such
Let
a
me see if I can get a
FOMO.
list here. Yeah, it's Judge 124, Devers 112, Otani 109. Any of your guys on here? Nope, none of our guys made the list.
Vlad's not up there?
Not top 10.
Hmm. It surprises me actually. All right. Well, that's all I got today. Jam-packed episode. Some new segments that I think were all hits, and we'll continue to come up with new ones and return to old ones. So,
Yeah, I like it.
any
Yeah.
final words, fellas?
Also, just want to let the people know we attained our World Baseball Classic tickets. It is confirmed. We will be attending the March 7th Italy-Brazil game at noon and the USA versus Great Britain the same night. I believe that's 7:30 first pitch. And then the big one, USA versus Mexico, Monday night, March 9th, 7:30 first pitch. I don't know about you guys. I don't have to travel much to go anywhere, but I am super stoked for you guys to come down.
Yeah, I think the traveling makes it even more fun. Bit of a vacation with three huge baseball games. So that'll be an absolute blast. And yeah, looking forward to just hanging out and obviously getting to go to those baseball games in March, which you don't see me doing here in Minnesota. So
I think that USA Mexico game has potential to be one of the most fun baseball experiences that we've ever had. And
maybe
I
ever
think
will.
I just cannot wait.
Yeah. I was talking to Brady, who's going to be joining us last night, and I was like, I think this is everybody's first time going to Daikin Park, formerly Minute Maid. And he's like, actually, I randomly went to a game here like 12 years ago, so it's not. I've been there before. And I was like, well, way to ruin it, man. I thought I was like gonna take you into the stadium and be like the chocolate factory in Willy Wonka and the chocolate factory. No, Brady's been there. He ruined it. So
Still will be for us. We can be your
yeah,
Oompa Loompas for the weekend. So
awesome. Good news. But yeah, super excited about that. So we're about 50 days out from that. And then we're getting pretty close to spring training too. So as that gets closer, we'll have updates on that. And as keep coming out with the news, there's obviously some free agents and trades still to be had out there. So it's getting to be that fun time of year. And before you know it, we're gonna be in season talking week to week about the current state of the game and who's doing well, who's not doing well. So looking forward to what lies ahead, fellas.
yeah, I'm excited
Mhm.
as well. Quick note, have fun at the Texans game in Boston. Did you know Nico Collins is out?
I did.
It's
I didn't
unfortunate.
think he would make it anyways. They played Monday and it sounded like a pretty bad concussion. So I kind of went in assuming that. But yeah, we're embarking into enemy territory on Sunday. Take on the divisional round between the Patriots and Texans. Obviously supporting my Texans. So if you're a ball knower out there, think about me and root for the Texans.
Will there be a Texans jersey on in Boston?
There will be, as of right now, there will be a Texans crew neck because of the weather.
That's fair.
It is supposed to be about 35 degrees and snowing. We may get a snow game.
Ooh, that'd be awesome. That'd be
Yeah.
an electric experience.
Yes. So flying up Sunday, weather permitting, flights all on time. We should make it to the game. So it'll be fun. Can't wait to report back. I'm gonna be playing. I'm shipping up to Boston all weekend long.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll be looking forward to that. Good luck to the Texans.
yep.
Yeah, it'll be a tough game without Nico Collins, but the defense can pull it out for him.
Hope so, man. Hope so. We'll see. They're a tough team, so it should be a good game overall. So that's really why I wanted to go. It's two good teams, and it should just be fun. Boston is like this historic sports town, and I personally, we Rito was there as well when we were 14. We took a trip for school to Boston and New York, and Boston was one of the coolest places I've ever been to. So just happy to go back for a day and get to go see Gillette Stadium. So it should be fun. All right, fellas, I think that's it here. This will be available on Sunday for those who listen right away, and then the next one following Sunday. So,
Sounds good. Nice talking to you guys.
yeah. Peace.